Welcome everybody to dmNorthTV. Nick is joining me tonight, and we are here to discuss a little fan-made content. Isn't that right, Nick?
Yes, indeed, and not stumble over our own words.
No, that would never happen. There is no proof of
Never.
that. Anyway, we had a chat about a month ago, I believe, um, talking about you kind of approached me with an idea, and well, this was your kind of baby initially, but do you want to kind of say what?
Yeah. So I was feeling creative, and so I messaged Jordo, and I was like, "Hey, I kind of feel like making a fan-made set of Transformers IP uh, Dice Masters cards," and he was like, "Yes."
Yeah, it didn't take
And
much
so guess
convincing.
what this video is about?
Yes, we are kind of showing off some of the cards that we came up with. This is kind of it's been in the works for, like I said, about a month. But the recent episode of Rolling Thunder came out this past Monday.
They
No,
beat
last
us to
week.
the punch.
Yeah. And one of the people on that was talking about this as kind of as an option for Wizkids to consider. Whether or not they do, we'll see. But this is kind of what we came up with. So I
We at
think,
least have two teams of cards that we plan to eventually play a game of against each other, and we'll post that too.
yeah, we'll see how they actually play. Because I mean, making the cards is one thing, but playing the cards, then you realize, oops, that's too good.
My mastermind abilities
Yes, we'll talk.
maybe got too out of hand. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. So kind of the big draw with Transformers, obviously, is they transform. So I mean, obviously, this is kind of where the flip cards came into play or came into the conversation. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't have Transformers without flip cards.
No, I mean it's
Oh,
you can, but why?
yeah, it would be pointless. And so that was kind of the big idea that I had when kind of coming up with the abilities, which if the abilities suck, that's my fault. If the art is bad, blame Jordo.
Yes.
That's kind of how we divvied the work. But I wanted to make sure that flipping mechanics were part of it and kind of part of the core central idea of how a lot of the abilities work. I didn't want to make it key to every single character because then it can be overdone. But there are characters that I designed that definitely flip, and it feels important when they flip.
Yeah.
Um, because kind of going back to official releases of Dice Master sets, the flip mechanic was a cool idea introduced in the Batman set. However, I felt mildly disappointed by some of them because it was just flip it and now Batman's a villain, and then Batman's Bat Family, or Joker's a villain and Joker's Bat Family, and the text changed a little bit but didn't seem to have as much impact other than, well, now they're part of the Bat Family or they're villains and fighting against the other.
Yeah. So I
Um,
think I kind of like what you did here. So I mean, I obviously I've seen all the cards.
yeah,
um,
and I drew inspiration from the Justice Like Lightning team pack, where they brought back the flip mechanics, but it was a lot of stuff of, well, do this to flip. So Citizen V, I believe, his mechanic was he has infiltrate, and once he infiltrates while active, he would flip over and have a different set of abilities. I think he gained retaliation as well as as well as the villain affiliation, and then also gave your villains overcrush, and so it was
yeah, there was some
like it
sneaky
was a
stuff with him. Yeah.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Or I think Meteorite had some stuff, and they all had interesting abilities where achieve this thing to flip them over, and if they weren't active, they flip back, and so you have to kind of do it again.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was a cool setup for a team. And if you haven't played a Justice Like Lightning team, focusing on that, well, you should because it was cool.
It was. It was.
Yeah, and so I wanted to make the flipping kind of a central aspect of some of these cards, but like I said, not all of the cards. And so we've kind of got a selection of about half the cards that I designed for now to discuss, just so that we keep the video short. We'll
Yeah.
showcase more of the cards when we get to that playthrough video.
Yeah.
Um, and so, why don't we just start off with a big name character?
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of came up with the idea of you wanted to do Transformers, so I decided I know a couple things about Transformers, so I kind of gave you a little core group of like we'll call them the season one guys, the series one guys, like the originals. So you're not going to see all characters here, but you're going to kind of see some of the main ones here. So let's start by looking at the big man himself, Optimus Prime. Do you want to go over what you came up with this guy?
Optimus Prime, Autobot leader. He's coming in as a 6 cost shield character. Um, and one thing from the start, you'll notice he has the flip symbol in one of his corners, but he doesn't have the traditional flip keyword, because the flip keyword would let you just flip back and forth at the start of your turn. And so he, like the Justice Like Lightning characters, needs something to activate that. And so then he can do it. However, I did install 2 new keywords for the set, disguise and
Robot.
robot,
Yes.
which really they're going to be treated just like the founder keyword that we saw in Dark Phoenix Saga of this is a keyword, it doesn't do anything, but other cards are going to reference it.
Yes.
And so it hopefully is obvious of there's the disguise or the alt mode, and then the robot or bot mode that you commonly see in Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
So starting off on the A side, the disguise side, it says when Optimus attacks, flip this card. So you immediately lose what it says on this side. So we'll go to the flip over of when he flips then to the robot side, it says, while Optimus Prime is active, your uh, Autobot character dice get +2 attack.
Which
So
makes
it's kind of
sense. He's the
pushing
he's
it.
the leader, right? He wants to
Yeah,
rally the troops.
it, it's a good leading aspect. He's there, he's attacking, and now all of your characters, now that he's on that side, because he's active, your Autobots get +2 attack. However, this is where, unlike the Justice Like Lightning, he's going to flip back the other way based off of another action of now on the robot side, when Optimus blocks, flip this card. Now going back, while Optimus is active, your Autobot dice gain +2 defense. So it kind of shows a aggressive versus defensive nature. You have to attack to get the aggressive side and block with him to get the defensive side.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I feel it kind of fits what a leader should be doing, leading the troops, and his troops are going to be better because of him. So I really like that. And you wanted to give him a global too. It looks like, right?
Yeah, and then he's got a global, and it wasn't too creative. It's just the Drax global.
Yeah.
Pay 2 shields, target character die gets +1A, +1D, which fits the theme of the card. Optimus is buffing your characters.
Yeah. Like I said, I dig it, and um, I guess we'll talk briefly about the dice because obviously we're reusing dice. Like
Yeah,
we don't have
he's
Optimus
using
Prime
the
dice.
he's using the Supergirl die from War of Light, which has some beefy stats on a shield character.
And that's kind of what you were looking for, right?
Yeah, something that maybe looks robotic and was beefy stats on a shield character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it works. Um,
picking dice was really hard.
It is. I find whenever I make cards, the dice are the hardest part because I'm trying to use what's there. I mean, you could obviously make your own symbols and stats and whatever and use a d6 if you wanted to, but it's more fun to use the dice we got. So I think you did a good job with it. I mean, it's red.
It gets worse when you're trying to use a burst ability, which there's one character in the set that has a burst ability. So after I found the right die, I was like, nope, not doing this again.
So we'll continue down the Autobot ranks, and we're gonna go to kind of the old timer. the grizzled warrior, Mister Ironhide. Now he's
I
continuing. He's continuing. It looks like on your conditional transformations.
supposed to show the conditional transformations. So the Autobots for Ironhide, Old Friend. He's a 5 cost mass character using the Balder stat line and symbol. Um, and so disguise. He's when Ironhide attacks, flip this card. Same concept as what we saw on Optimus and on some of the other Autobot cards. And so he'll flip over, and then on the robot side, he says when Ironhide flips to this side, so activating, it's basically a one attacks ability. Ironhide gains Overcrush until end of turn, which is a pretty solid aggressive ability.
Yep, I think it works for him.
Um, and then on this side as well, it says when Ironhide blocks, flip this card. Lo and behold, when he flips to this side, Ironhide gains Iron Will until end of turn. And
That
so once again,
that's a keyword that needs to
emphasizing the
come back.
defensive aspect.
Love that keyword.
Yeah. And so he's going to be quite the beast when it comes to attacking and then defending. But the key is definitely that you want to attack and then defend.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not flipping him constantly, then you're not getting those keywords.
Right.
Unlike Optimus, where he was just a straight while active, do this thing.
Yeah, because if you're not flipping Ironheart, he's not really doing anything for you. He's just sitting there.
Yep. Yeah. And so that was kind of the core of the design is for the Autobots, for their conditional flipping, when they attack, do something that's a more aggressive thing. And then when they defend, flip back into robot mode, or I'm sorry, into disguise mode, and they're going to do something a little more defensive from blocking.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think you nailed it with that one too. So again, we'll see how these play, but I like it.
yeah, I like the idea. And it's probably more complex than some of the other abilities we've seen, but well, that's what I do apparently.
So
Now,
let's
to
jump
keep
to
things simple, do you want to go ahead and take the next one?
well, the next one. This is my personal favorite character of all time in Transformers. Is Prowl. I think he was one of my first Transformers when I was a kid. That might be why I have affinity for him. But basically, we went with the. I love the die you picked for him.
It's an amazing die symbol choice.
It's so perfect. I don't know that I love the stats, but I'm going. You know what? I'll take the stats to have the donut. I think. So that's Harvey Bullock from World's Finest, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
this
he's a
is
4 cost fist.
yes. And this is the first of the Autobots that actually can flip on command, basically, or transform on command. We'll use the right word there.
They flip at the start of your turn.
Yeah.
And
So,
so he can sit there and choose which side you want.
but he's the one character, at least the one that's kind of popping into mind here, that you actually are referencing this disguise and robot mode. So Prowl, as he is okay. He's got some kind of weak defense, but the more Transformers that are in their disguise mode, he's going to get a little bit bigger when he's in disguise mode, and the exact same thing when he's in his robot mode. So he's basically rallying from other people, like he's getting big and beefy.
Yeah. And it's just a simple, and he gets both attack and defense. And so he definitely wants to be played on a team that has the flip mechanic with the robot and the disguise, because he'll get +1/+1 for each active character you control on the correct side.
Yeah, so I think that'll be an interesting thing playing with him is getting things in the right spot for him to be useful. But
Yeah,
again,
which
with the beginning of at the beginning of your turn, you can kind of see where your team's sitting, going, okay, well, I'm going to be doing this, so I need him on this side. So
yeah, it might be a little bit of telegraphing of, well, I'm gonna flip him to robot side. Watch me now. I'm going to attack with everything to flip the rest of my Autobots.
and it's like, oh, Prowl's big now. Okay,
You know, though he gets weak then before the flips, so I don't know. It could be interesting. It could be a terrible ability.
I'm
Let us know in the comments.
yeah, I'm curious with this guy when we do play with him. I he was when I was putting the cards together. I'm going, ooh, this guy could be bad. Like he might be the broken card.
Yeah, I think had we been designing this from ground up and not stealing dice from other characters and sets, the dice would definitely look different.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't complain about dice stats. That's what we got.
And last of our Autobots for the video here is the ever popular Little Bumblebee. We're not using the movie Bumblebee because screw that. Um, this is the good Bumblebee. So he's another one of the flips when you want him to, and he's basically your prepping die. Like his ability's pretty much the same on both sides. He's going to get infiltrate. He's going to get you more dice when he attacks.
Which is I thought would be pretty fun with an infiltrate ability.
Yep.
Well, you didn't block, so I can pull him back and
Do it
do it
again.
again next turn.
Yeah.
Or if he did block, well, he's kind of got a low defense and he might get KO'd anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, nothing exciting with him, but I mean, anything that preps dice is a good thing. And I mean, he's got some half decent stats. So I mean, you're probably gonna be blocked for some of them.
Yeah, if you're leaving him unblocked, it's I'd say that's a huge risk because they're they could infiltrate back. You take 1 damage, or they don't and you take 4 or 5 damage, and that's pretty beefy.
Yeah. So again, talking about die stats, Bumblebee probably shouldn't have these stats. But
That's probably accurate, but I liked the symbol.
the symbol works. I like the symbol. It's very
Yeah, that's
Bumblebee-ish.
Iron Spider from the uh Iron or War yeah, Iron Man and War Machine starter set.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just like this symbol, and so that's
Yeah,
what it is.
that's kind of how I do things too when I'm designing things. I find the symbol that I think works the best, and if the stats are way out of whack, maybe I adjust the ability to accommodate that. But work with what you got, right?
Yeah, this is all fresh run, and someone would play test out and tweak the numbers appropriately.
Yeah, yeah. But that's all the Autobots we're going to show. There are four more of them, so we will be showing those off kind of when we do play these. But you'll have to watch the video to find out who they are. So obviously, if we're playing, we got some Autobots here. We gotta play with the Decepticons, right?
And I'd say this next guy, this is the one that kind of keyed me in for kind of the central idea of the team. And so we've got Megatron, the big boy himself, the tank. And Megatron, just like Bumblebee, kind of has a simple ability per se of he's got the flip and disguise or flip and robot, but then the card text is the same on either side. He didn't need to have flip, but some of us prefer our transformers to transform. So
Yes, you
that's
can't.
where we're at.
Yeah,
Um, and well, it just looks cool and then kind of leans itself to the other abilities like Prow, because then you're not being gimped by not having a full slate of Transformers. But, anyways, we got Megatron, Tyrant, and this is the ability that once again, I kind of keyed the rest of the Decepticons about, is pretty simple. When Megatron attacks, you may KO any number of your character dice. For each that you do, deal your opponent 1 damage.
and again, I think you really kind of nailed like the character here. Like you're basically he's just throwing his troops at you.
Just like, I don't care about you. Go.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
I'm going to sit back here with my beefy tank stats. Uh, oh, I forget the name. It's one of the Space Wolf. It's the tank from the Space Wolf pack.
Yeah, the names escaped me too. But
But
yeah,
it's a 6 cost bolt. And
Yeah, I
that's all
mean,
you need to know with big stats.
big stats. The die is actually perfect. The colors are perfect. Like this is Megatron. It works awesome. So that's
Yeah.
Megatron. He's gonna chuck his people at you and whittle you down, and then probably swing at you too. And good luck.
Yeah. And yeah, those are stats that you're going to want to block.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
so
anything else you want to
getting
say about the big
into
boy, or are we done with
no,
him?
no,
He's good. Okay, let's
yeah,
move into the heir apparent for leadership of the Decepticons, Mister
Starscream,
Starscream himself.
leadership aspirations, and he's a 3-cost bolt, and he is the one die or the one character that gets to steal Steve Trevor's die with the jet.
Yes.
Everyone else had to find something else.
In a perfect world, I would have just recolored this die for any other jets we used.
Yeah, and the stats are pretty decent for some of them. Maybe should have been bigger for others, but whatever.
Yep.
Um, and so here you get to see the kind of mechanic of how and why the Decepticons are flipping. So the Autobots I designed with the intent of when you attack, they flip and do something. When they block, they flip and do something. And so, different idea here, it's disguise for the robot or for the disguise side. When you flip Starscream, flip this card. And so, what happens when he flips to this side? To the robot side, when he flips to this side, deal 1 damage to target opponent. So it's essentially you get to field him, you deal 1 damage, and then that's kind of a bit of a drawback because you flip him or you field him, it flips, and now he doesn't have that essentially when fielding text.
Right.
So
But
how do you get it back? Well, now when he's on his robot side, when Starscream is KO'd, flip this card. And so when Starscream flips to this side, deal 1 damage to each opposing character die.
so he's
And so
basically a
that's
bomber. He's coming in fast and furious, bombing your face, and then anything that's on the field.
and so is the airplane that he's designed after, is it a bomber or
No, no, I think it's an F-15.
I'm sure it
Whatever.
has some bombs, so why not?
Whatever. He's coming in missile attacks and everything.
Yeah, he's a good aggressive and fits well, I'd say, with the Megatron ability of, well, KO him, you get that's a nice little triggering point before the opponent can block. You're now ditching or you're KOing him to deal 1 damage to all of the opponent's character dice. There goes the sidekicks.
Yep. I like it. Again, I feel it fits well, and I think it fits well with Megatron, which I really like.
Yeah. And then we've got a nice duo coming up next, which
Yes.
you definitely reined me in on this next
Yes,
one.
this one went through a few a few versions before we kind of settled on this one because it this is a mini mold as we called him originally.
Yeah, I had the intention for Soundwave to just basically be a master mold that shot out 1/1 tokens.
Yep.
You know, a reasonable
Nothing.
1/1 instead of 5/5s.
Yep.
But somebody didn't like that idea. So
Well, it's not that I
we,
didn't like
I,
it. I think there was just too many of them. It
whatever,
was
you
too.
can't have enough tokens. All right, so reined in a little bit. It's going into that kind of core idea of once again, when fielded, you flip this card, and then when KO'd, you flip it back. And so this one basically matches up of when fielded, you flip this card. So then when it's robot, when Soundwave flips to this side, place a cassette token with 1 attack and 1 defense into the field zone. When Soundwave is KO'd, flip this card, and when he flips to this side, you get another 1/1 token.
Yes.
Just kind of a simple field, get a token, KO, get a token. But the requirement to keep flipping it back and forth will throttle it. So even if you bought 4 of them, you can't field all four and get 4 tokens. It's
Yeah, and I
kind
think
of limiting it, but there's ways then to get around that.
there was, and I'm trying to remember what the original design was, but it was a lot easier to get tokens.
Oh, I totally just stole the Master Mold text originally.
Oh, was it straight up Master Mold?
Oh, I stole that text and just scaled it down to a 1/1 and
Oh, okay, okay,
renamed the token.
okay, okay. Well, I like this better because in theory you shouldn't get overwhelmed too much, and Megatron doesn't have that much firepower.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And once again, calling out, I think this was a great choice for the die symbol
yes,
using the original April O'Neil recorder.
yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I did like that
Yeah.
one.
He
Um,
probably has a bit beefier defense on the top end,
yes,
but he's at a 4 cost for 1 attack, so it's all right.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Spewing out the tokens worthy of that cost.
I think so. I think so. And obviously, we got generic cassette tokens there, but you cannot have Soundwave without his actual cassettes. So let's probably talk about the one that everyone knows and loves, Laserbeak.
Yeah. Nice little 3 cost shield. This is the Songbird die from Civil War. I think it was from Civil War. If
I
not,
think
it was
so.
from the Justice Like Lightning team pack.
I'm pretty
Uh,
sure it was Civil War, but I'm questioning that again.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Civil War. Anyways, so 3 cost shield, pretty decent sets, I'd say. And it has once again the same idea of disguise. When you field Laserbeak, flip this card. When KO'd, flip the card. So leaning into that idea. And so when Laserbeak flips to the robot side, while Laserbeak is active, your opponent's sidekick character dice costs 1 more to field. So
Little
pretty
control there.
annoying
Yep.
ability.
Yep.
And
That's
if it's
super annoying.
KO'd and we flip back, it's another, well, not quite a while active. It's just spend 1 less to purchase Laserbeak. And like most of those abilities, don't need to be active. So really, it's a 2 cost die until you get it stuck in the field and can't get it KO'd, and then you're paying 3.
To be fair though, with Megatron, you're going to be KOing him pretty easily.
Oh, oh yeah, it's an easy KO.
Yeah.
Um, and so pretty decent stats, pretty annoying ability. Um, and we've seen that sort of ability before.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, a number of the abilities I tried to model as closely to other in-game abilities, except somebody didn't like Master Mode.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. Talk to that guy. Um, but yeah, I kind of dig it. I think it kind of works for the character, and the die is pretty decent overall there. But
Yeah.
again, we're not going to show off all of the Decepticons we got on the team. There are some other ones. You can probably guess based on my jet comments about a couple of the other ones.
Yeah, there's
um,
I'd say there's good names on both sides, and
yeah, I
at least it
liked.
gives you the feel of the Autobots. I designed them with the intent, the kind of synergy of you want to keep attacking and you want to keep blocking, which, you know, for a game puts activity into the game, interaction in the game.
Yeah,
Um, the Decepticons, they're a little more tricky. I think they might end up being a little more cerebral to play in that you got to feel them, then KO them, and
there's a lot more going on
they,
with them. I remember that one when I was putting them together. My gut
yeah,
feeling is they might have a little more overall power to do the damage,
I think
but I
I
think
think so too. But I think it will be rewarded by you have to think harder to do it.
yeah. So we'll find
And
out how
there's
they actually play.
certainly things to help, like the Megatron ability of we'll just KO them and we'll reset. Now I mean, keep in mind though, you're KOing your field when you attack, so your direct attack is not as great, and then you're leaving yourself open for a retaliation attack. So
Yeah, Yeah.
not the best, and he's a 6 cost.
Yeah.
Um, as a little bit of a spoiler, I did sneak in the Nihilor Global of just pay a mask to once per turn, you may KO a character die you control. So there's another way to start resetting them a little bit. Um, Not too easy, but it
Yeah.
helps.
Um, but yeah, again,
And then I
that's
guess onto the
yeah.
basic
So
actions
we
that
made a kind of
really,
limited basic action set here. So we're just going to show off a couple of these. Um,
yeah,
this one's pretty straightforward. It basically gives you a way to transform the cards.
yeah,
That's it.
roll out, flip target character card, must have the flip icon.
Yeah. So all the cards in this set have that icon. So the ones that are conditionally flipped, you have a way to flip them when you want to.
Yeah, and it's a nice cheap die to do it.
Yeah, I dig it. It works for the set. Um,
Yeah,
and
not
then
too crazy.
yeah, and this other one we're currently calling it Signal Jam.
I think it works for a name.
Yep.
And then I like the art that you found for that one
Yeah, that
because
was
it
the.
matches.
It does match. I didn't want to include any movie images or art, but I did. So sorry.
Oh, this is from the movie.
This is from the movie. Yep.
Oops, didn't know that. We never said it.
But what is the point of Signal Jam?
But so one basic action is to flip the cards, and now, well, here's a basic action to deny the flipping.
Yep.
Um, so continuous, place this die on an opposing character card. It is still in the field zone. Um, Characters with Signal Jam on their card cannot flip. Move this die to your use pile at the start of your next turn.
Yeah.
So it's just, as it says, it's a nice way to just jam your opponent. So maybe they're trying to do that Ironhide Overcrush strategy.
Hmm.
Well, jammed, he can't flip anymore, so he can't Overcrush.
Yeah, and I think in this set, in this concept, this is actually a really good basic action because transformation is actually a big part of what's happening here. And if you can prevent that for a turn, that might buy you the time you need to kill your opponent.
Yeah, it's a good stall card. I'll admit, not terribly creative, kind of obvious. One of them to flip, one of them to stop flipping, and just for any rules lawyers preempting it, don't submit it to the rules forum because I'll just say now, since I designed it, Signal Jam beats rollout. Cannot beats must, or cannot beats it. So
Yeah.
there you
Uh,
go.
yeah. So that's kind of our mini look at the Transformers set. Well, not set teams we've created. These are we did only create like eight cards per team, and then two BACs per team.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a good full team, and I'd say they're what a team pack should be for each of here's a playable deck or a playable team.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's what I kind of like about it. Um,
they both have components to kind of ramp. They both definitely have some win condition cards. That's probably where I held back or I had the most trouble was remembering not everything should be a win condition. I have that trouble when I'm making my own teams.
no, I think there's some nice balance here, and like I said, I can't actually wait to play them. So we'll be doing that on another day here. Any other last minute things you want to add?
Well, I'm not even going to attempt to make the transformer noise because I might be copyrighted. So just pretend I did.
Got it. Uh,
Yeah.
thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We will be putting up a couple gameplay videos using these cards just to see how they play and if it's fun or not. And let us know what you think. Um, if you'd like to see other abilities on some of these characters, definitely let us know because it would be kind of cool to build an actual team pack out of this. Um,
Yeah. We right now just kind of designed one card per character, unlike usually there's three.
yeah. So
But let's be
there's room
honest,
for
in those
growth.
team packs, there's one card you want to play and two you'll leave in the binders. So we just cut the fluff for you.
If this kind of works out, I've got like a laundry list of characters I want to use for this, which is why
Yeah,
I
how
call
many different characters behind you?
one or two. There's a couple. There's a couple behind
Good.
me. Um, but I've got the art assets already for everything, man. We're good to go. But yeah, that's our look at the fan made Transformers set for Dice Masters. Thanks for watching. Do the whole YouTube thing, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Roll out.
The Transformers will return after these messages.